Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the VIP podcast. I'm your host today, Heath Sheeran. We've got another special episode from the Indie Tech Showcase experience live from the showroom floor. It was such a good time. I enjoyed recording these podcasts, and I know you're going to enjoy listening to them. As you already heard from Davey Holt on branding, today's episode, I've got my man Patrick McBride joining me. And again, it is so much fun to do these things live. Guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more of these live episodes. And we're also going to be putting out some webinars, and we've got some more really cool content for 2025 already lined up for you. Guys, make sure you smash that button, give me a like, follow us on all of the platforms. I'm going to jump out of the way so you can check out this incredible conversation with my man Patrick McBride. Let's go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Vertafore Insurance Podcast. We are live at Indie Tech, and I'm sitting here with Patrick McBride. How are you, sir?
I'm fantastic, man. How are you?
I'm good. We just realized a few minutes ago we've never really spoken. We've been in the same rooms quite a bit.
Yeah. The internet is a fickle beast, right?
It is.
Like, we can see everybody and know who we are and never actually connect. So it's nice to be here.
And so where are you at? Where'd you come here from?
Northern Illinois, rural Illinois.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the best thing to you about being from a rural area?
Yeah, that's about it. Honestly, my doors are almost certainly unlocked right now at home.
Yeah.
We have cameras that just kind of run every now and then, but I mean, my kids can play in the streets. They walk to school, they walk home.
Yeah.
There's parks minutes away that they can get to on their bikes. We never have to worry about anything like that. It's nice.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being from Arkansas, we have, we do a lot of the cow tipping and we do the whole thing. You guys participate in some of that where you're at?
I will neither confirm or deny any cow tipping stories, nor will I allude to any cornfield gatherings of sorts.
I gotcha.
As a younger man. Yeah, we never did that.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're here at Indie Tech. What is, tell me first of all, what's your experience been so far the last 2 years? You were here last year.
I was.
And you're here this year.
It is... it's a different experience than anything else we've done or we go to, because the focus is on how the technology is deployed appropriately in your office.
Yeah.
And from my standpoint, I think other agents and even us, we can get the shiny objects, we can get the tools, but if we don't know how they work together, or if they don't work together, this is the place to come and learn that.
Yeah,
and be able to talk to the vendors side by side, which has been a unique experience from anywhere else, and I love it.
Yeah, I do too. And I knew last year when I came to this, I knew the first year was going to have its bumps, but I was like, I've got to come back again because it's such a great opportunity to not only rub elbows with your vendors, but also with, so many other insurance agents, and having the classes up there where people get to talk. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Tell me, you're leading, a discussion tomorrow or, a class tomorrow, so to speak. What's your talk about?
So it's officially billed as creating a modern insurance experience. Okay. I subtly call it "Get the F Out."
Okay.
So F does not stand for what you think it stands for.
Right. Okay. Okay. Good.
You got to pay.
Show?
It is. You got to pay admission to come and see that to learn what the F stands for. But it really is all about leveraging technology to create capacity in our team.
Okay.
So when your team has capacity, and your client calls in mad. Okay. Right. Your client's got let's say their bill went up 30%, like everybody else did.
Yeah,
they call in, they're upset, they're disappointed, they yell at our service staff. Well, that client is having an irrational emotional response to an uncontrollable situation.
Okay. That's a lot of words.
That's a lot, right? They're angry.
Yeah, they're angry.
So, and how they respond to our team can take that personally, and if they're maxed out or if they're at the limit, they then respond to an uncontrollable situation with a irrational emotional response.
True. Okay.
So if we can use automation to reduce the amount of time it takes to do the tasks, or simplify the process itself, I create more capacity in my team in the same amount of time. They can now absorb that irrational response, and give back the positive. Not to try to put fluff in the world, but they can handle it with more grace, with more dignity. Our client gets calmed down. We get to have a real conversation, and that's really what tomorrow is about: is how to remove some of those pieces from our agencies, how to give back our team more time in their day, more capacity in what they're doing, and give a better experience to our clients.
And what tech you feel like is the best to do that? I mean, are you suggesting a certain tech stack or just certain solutions?
So tech stacks is so first and foremost, our core is AgencyZoom. Everything we do is funneled in and out of AgencyZoom.
Okay.
So every other piece that we bolt has to connect there somehow. And that's not because I'm here. It really is just
No, I hear you. We talked about that before we hit record. So yeah.
So as agnostic as I can be, the process is sacred, not the technology. The technology is the tool to help us get to where we want to go.
Yeah.
And we made choices based on parameters inside of our office to choose one technology or another. And now it's continuing to evolve that landscape for the agency.
Okay.
So your process has to be defined before you ever do anything automated.
Yeah. And so when you're in these rooms and you're talking to independent agencies, is that something you feel like is, kind of missing in a lot of agencies out there, the processes and the core workflows?
Yeah. I feel like it's when you ask your kids to get up in the morning, brush their teeth, right? Get the clothes on, pack the backpack, pack a lunch, get out the door. There's a routine there that they do. And sometimes they have no idea why they're doing it.
Yeah.
Right. Why do I got to put on shoes, Dad? Why do my socks have to match, Dad?
Right.
And I don't care if your socks match, kid. Like, let's just go to school.
Let's just get out.
Brush your teeth, don't smell. I've got 3 boys and a daughter. The boys they're feral, right? Like, I don't care if you brush your hair. You got to be clean. You can't smell, and you got to have shoes on. That's all.
That's a great principle.
Right.
Yeah.
So the same concept goes inside the agencies. Is a lot of times it's just response.
Yeah.
Like we're reacting instead of responding. We didn't think about what we needed to do. We got punched in the face and then we react.
Sure.
The market turned hard. We got punched in the face.
Big time.
So what did we do? We reacted. Agencies tried to rewrite and reshop and do everything they could, not knowing the impact is going to be every carrier taking that 5, 10, 20, 30.
100%.
That increase. So we reacted as an agency force without knowing how it was going to impact. If we have the right process, we met with another agent out of Texas about the renewal process, and we were just killing ourselves re-quoting everybody who was over a certain threshold percentage. And I'm like, how are you doing it, man? You've got 10 times the clients we have.
Right.
How are you doing it? He goes, we put the responsibility on them.
Okay.
I'm like, how did you do it? And he walked me through his entire process. And so we actually reduced the number of re-quotes or reshops we do by putting the responsibility on the client, saying, hey, we need to talk. Your premiums increased at a rate we're not comfortable with, but we need some information from you before we reshop.
Okay.
And we had a tremendous response, but we also cut our quoting down by about 40%, and our retention didn't change. So they were seeing if they were shopping elsewhere, they knew that we were on it and they could get back to us. Yeah. But if we reshopped them, we had the conversation. Now, the majority of our carriers are looking at, they're going to come out and they're going to look at your property. Are you ready for that inspection?
Exactly.
And some people said,
because 5 years ago, that may have been a lot better looking property. Right. Or that step they asked you to fix, you didn't fix. Or those things that they wanted you to fix last time, maybe you didn't fix it, or maybe it's gotten worse. Or that roof that was 10 years old is now 15 years old, or it was 7 years old, now it's 12 years old.
And do I want to find you $400 for the savings for a $600 tree trimming bill?
Right.
Right? So we had to find this balance and create the process. Define the process, then we created the automations that go with it that speak that language out.
Yeah.
Our team buys in and we roll forward. And that's what I think is so important about something like IndyTech is you can come in and see all the shiny objects.
Yeah.
And there are shiny
touch
objects.
Touch them and feel them and see what they look like. Yeah.
But if you don't have a deployable and defined process, none of it matters.
I completely agree with you.
Right.
And that's the thing that I've been preaching for years is, that shiny object syndrome is if you don't have a plan of what you're going to do it for, or what do you even need?
Yeah.
So people are like, oh, I need this. But if you don't have personal lines, why would you need Canopy Connect?
Yeah.
Now they're in commercial lines. So that's probably a bad example. Yeah. But if you don't, need certain things, if you don't need a rater, then why do you need to go talk to these people?
Right.
So I think you're right. So I think being here where you can actually see it and maybe, look at a demo, do some things like that. But also think before you come to a conference, and you go to conferences a lot, I've been preaching this a lot lately, is have some intentionality before you go into the conference of like, who you're going to meet with, what are you going to go do, what do you want to see, and I knew, going into today, I wanted to have some podcasts set up. I wanted to do this. I want to meet with these vendors. I wanted to do this. I talked to you about earlier, like, let's get a podcast recorded. I think a lot of people need to do that, especially coming in an event like this.
Yeah. If you walk in without a plan and all you're doing is soaking in everything, you retain nothing.
Yep.
Right? If you're just hoping for one good nugget, you'll find a nugget in every presentation.
Yeah, you will.
You can go to any presentation you want in this entire building, entire weekend, and you're going to find something.
Yeah.
Everyone has something, but if you don't come in with intentionality, you're going to leave with nothing deployable, nothing actionable. And all you did was take 3 days off from your agency, and you went back, and it was the same agency.
And that was the thing that when I was talking to a lot of agencies, they would say, Patrick would go off these conferences, come back, and then, hey, we're going to put this new tech in. But it's like, they didn't even talk to us. We didn't even need that tech.
Yeah.
And so, I think you're right on there. So you mentioned AgencyZoom.
Yep.
What else? What's your tech stack look like outside of that?
So we integrate our phones through Lightspeed Voice.
Okay.
All ties into, obviously, AgencyZoom. Our texting, actually, we've been on Twilio because the way AgencyZoom has kind of built that. But now Lightspeed's actually got a new integration that we're converting to this week, which is exciting.
Have you gotten to see it and it's working pretty well for you?
Not yet.
Okay.
We did all the back end work so to create as little disruption for the team as possible.
Yeah.
I want my producers, my service people to not have to know that something changed.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So when the texts come through, they can still text back. So we're trying to make sure that goes off as seamlessly as possible. All the TCPA stuff has been done. All the phone lines have been transferred. All the nerdy stuff that has to happen.
Yeah.
That's all done. But we do all that there. Obviously, we're using AgencyZoom on the front end, PL Radar for all of our personal lines side of things. We actually started using Gaia about a year ago.
Okay.
Before this conference last year, we started using Gaia and really started to roll them out. And it helps with our personal lines intake is through Salt, and we can push directly into PLR from Salt.
Yeah.
And then that drives back into AgencyZoom, which is kind of this nice little circle.
Sure it is.
Right? It's so I go to church on Sundays, and I think the theme right now is circles are better than rows. Right? Everybody's trying to get into small groups. So the smaller circles, the smallest circle I can create is how does my technology work together back and forth? Right? How is it just one seamless process? So, and then we kind of back it all up with Now Certs as far as the AMS.
Yeah.
So they've got some really cool flexibility, and we've been able to build some custom Zaps and API connections between our things that have been really fun.
Yeah, we're all about that connectivity.
Yeah.
So Sydney, I'm gonna do this one for you. So are you, because she's not here with me, so I'm missing my co-host here, but she's always gonna wanna know about AI.
Yeah.
How are you using AI in your agency right now?
Probably the most deployable purpose we use it for is outside of all the questions you can ask and information you can gain and kind of thought collection, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's still artificial, and we have to be intelligent to use the information.
I like that.
Right?
Yeah. That was for you, Sid.
Yeah, so college and education, I can go to school and gain knowledge,
Sure.
but if I don't deploy it appropriately, I don't have wisdom.
I love
Right?
that.
So AI is there, and I think it's empowering. But what we actually use it for on a regular, consistent basis, all of our Google reviews get responded to in within 10 minutes. We have a 17-minute time frame where you can leave me a 5-star review on Google. It pulls it through, and it's going to calculate how many stars did they give us, did they create a response or not, and it will write a response based on a set of parameters we gave it, and then it publishes that response automatically.
Very cool.
Yeah, unless it's a 2 or 1 star, then it just sends me an alert that says, reach out to Heath, something's wrong.
Something's amiss. Yeah, I get it. And then you're able, that's really cool. Okay, so I like that. And so do you see yourself and your agency down the line, getting more involved with AI and ChatGPT and, or whatever it might be?
I do. I think that there has to be a way to understand how to deploy it on a more consistent basis.
Sure.
So when we have tried to actually build this on our end when we run a quote through our personal lines intake. So we use Salt for this. So if everything comes through Salt and we have all the data points we need,
sure.
How can we get it out of Salt and through a GPT, hiding some of that SPI or PPI, right? How do we get all this information out, run it through a custom GPT, and compare it against our carrier model?
Yeah.
Here's our carrier list. Here's their underwriting guidelines. Hey, these are your top 3 carriers.
Sure.
Based on the information you've given us, drivers, driver ages, accident histories, home, age, location, these are the carriers that will like that more than anyone else.
Yeah.
And we can go there, which, you still run it through the radar, but now hey, these 2 are going to be no options because of X and Y.
Sure.
But if you've got the AI doing that already,
that's awesome.
right? You've got a lot of agencies out there that will tell you we don't use a radar because we know our carrier appetites.
Sure.
Well, what happened in 23? Carrier appetites changed.
100%. And they're going to change again.
They're going to change again. And when they change again, how do you know they changed? If all you do is say, I know the carrier appetite, I don't need a radar.
And that's the thing. Some people have that mentality of like, well, I already know.
Right.
And I was an agency owner. I had, several of my CSRs that were like,
I'm not going to go to this carrier because I already know they're going to be too high. And I'm like, wait, I need you to shop every option out there so that I can know. And this was before pandemic. And I think even more nowadays, you have to look at everybody and you have to take that look because you never know from day to day, from week to week.
I think the biggest mistake we make as professionals is thinking that we're the professionals.
Right. Yeah, like, you're right.
If I walk into a room and if I feel like I know nothing, all I have to do is, all I have is the opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not stupid, but I call myself half stupid. Because if I can get to where I'm at being half stupid, that means that there's a lot I can learn and a lot I can be better on. So walking in a room like this, hearing the speakers.
11 o'clock technology breakout sessions.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You have 3 choices.
Thanks, James Jenkins.
Yeah. Double J, here's looking at you, buddy.
Yeah.
CEO of Nova Insurance Group. In room 241.
Yeah, again, live at a conference. You never know what's going to get. We can edit this out, Chad. I got my editor back at the home.
Okay.
He'll probably get that out. If not, it'll be fun to have it in there.
Yeah.
So.
And I totally forgot what I was saying now, too.
I know. It's okay. You were talking about you were half stupid.
So if I walk in, I can learn something from anybody.
Yeah.
But being able to see the pathways of how everything connects and how we can be a little bit better. So the 2 things I'll say here is iPhones. So the new iPhone just came out.
Okay.
And I'm bitter about it. So
this is 17?
16.
16.
16.
Got it.
So I've been on a 12 for a couple years, and I keep them 3 or 4 years, right? So I've got a 12 Pro Max at home, and I'm waiting for the 16. The upgrade's coming. I'm going to wait for the new one. I'm going to go buy the newest phone. Don't buy it before then. New one comes out. It's no different than the 15. So I rebel, and I just go buy the 15 instead, give the 12 to my son.
Sure.
The incremental improvement is not a terrible thing.
Right.
Because if we can constantly go with the Japanese principle of Kaizen, right? Just a little bit better, continual refinement and improvement. There's always something there that we can take that incremental improvement and be better.
Sure.
Purposeful and responsive, not reactive improvement. But when you walk in a room like this and you can see the vendors and you can see the capabilities and you understand that shiny object syndrome is a thing, if your brain works like, if you want to navigate from here to home, you want to drive back to Arkansas. Are you still in Arkansas?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was like a home and you live somewhere else. But if you want to drive back to Arkansas, you put in the GPS, I want to go home.
Sure.
And you make a wrong turn, what's your GPS do?
It tells you recalculate. Yeah.
If you can look at the technology out there and have the ideology in your brain, or that thought process is recalculate. How does this get me home?
Yeah.
Not can it. Sure, it can.
Sure.
But recalculating. Make a legal U-turn. Like, this is the wrong path.
Right.
Make a legal U-turn.
And sometimes it saves you time and effort. Right. Sometimes it adds time and effort.
And sometimes it's just a beautiful drive and you have a better experience.
100%.
So
I think that's what your clients are wanting now.
Yes.
And I think the people listening right now, they think, because back in the day, it used to be quicker, faster is better. But now I think they want a full experience. They want the Chick-fil-A. They want the Starbucks. They want that experience.
So I mentioned this yesterday on the panel, where if you look at mobile banking usage over the last 10 years, and what generations are using mobile banking more than others.
Sure.
Boomers are using mobile banking far and wide more than any other generation. Gen Zs, the younger generation, the only ones that would actually have bank accounts yet, they're going into the bank more than any other generation.
Oh, wow.
So Gen Zs are now shifting that population, right? Millennials and Gen Xers, we're in the middle of this, right? We're digital natives. We live here. We've been there for a while, but the Gen Z is so used to technology, they need the physical help. They need that real connection.
Wow.
So if we look at mobile banking in an industry like in a financial industry like us, and we see that shift on that end, what do you think our clients are going to do too?
Same thing.
We can make it faster. We can make it smoother. We use digital intake forms to get more data faster. I don't spend any less time on the phone with a customer, which there are vendors here that will argue with you that it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Right? And one of them's a friend of mine, and we go back and forth on it.
Yeah.
But I spend the same amount of time. The digital intake form pulls in VIN numbers and pulls in extra drivers and pulls in those lien holders. So I don't have to ask the question.
Yeah.
But I can say, Heath, how long have you been married? How many kids do you have? Oh man, I got one around that same age. Are you experiencing this too?
Yeah.
And we can connect at a human level.
100%.
So when we create that modern insurance experience, we don't have to lose personal connection.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So I think that's key, and I'm loving that we're here right now, because by the time we edit some of that stuff out from James, thanks a lot, we'll probably be at a good time frame. So I appreciate you being here.
The last question I'd love to ask you from someone at your caliber of like, there's people talking about trying to predict when this hard market's going to end.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm of the, mindset that we're probably at halftime. I still think we have a long way to go before we're truly at the end. Really, I don't think we're ever going to see an end to it. I think we're actually just going to adapt to the new. But do you have any thoughts on, where we're at in this hard market cycle? What's your prediction for that? Like, where are we at?
I care a whole lot less than other people do.
Okay.
The market is what the market is, whether it's soft or hard.
Yeah.
We have to respond accordingly. But if it doesn't end, it doesn't end.
Yeah.
That just means that our practices now become permanent.
We adapt.
Right. When the market softens, we talk a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Right. If I can continue to provide value beyond the premium to our clients, that's all that matters.
100%.
I don't care what the price is. I don't care what the increases are.
Yeah, I like that. So we just, at the end of the day, regardless if it ends or doesn't end, or just, we just have to adapt.
It's a level playing field.
Yeah.
Your agency in one corner of the country is the same as my agency in my corner of the country. We're facing obviously different challenges geographically or regionally, but we're in the same place.
Yeah, good call.
In every agency in my town, it's 16,000 people. There are 16 agencies, including all the captains in my town.
Yeah.
It's a level playing field.
Yeah.
The only difference is the way we handle it.
Sure.
The price, I can't control.
That's a good point.
Carrier contracts, I can't control. As long as we do our job, we do the right underwriting on the front end, we make sure the right carrier has the right appetite for the right risk, we can move on, and I don't care one way or the other if it's a hard or a soft market.
Got it. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's really a good answer there, and I appreciate you hanging out with us.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate the audience being here, hanging out with us here at Indie Tech 2024, and thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
Right? Every single time, man. Patrick McBride brings it, and he is so much fun to talk to. I learned something from that guy every single time, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. Every single week, we want to bring you some incredible content for you, the VIP. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Guys, come back next week for another great episode. I'll have Sid back in the booth with me again. And I know you guys missed her. Orange Mike Chad will be back, the whole thing. Speaking of which, Chad, turn that music up in my headphones. See you next week, guys.